Parshas Shemos turns the narrative away from the Avos, away from Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and now turns the story to us as a nation. This week's Parsha talks about the beginning of our slavery in Egypt, the beginning of our galus in Mitzrayim, and it first lists all the names of Yaakov's children. The Medrash explains that the reason why we recount all the names right now is to show us how all of those names are connected to the idea of Geula, the idea of redemption. And the Medrash goes on to learn how every single name of Yaakov's 12 tribes have a connection to the idea of redemption, to the idea of Geula. Another Medrash explains that by counting Yaakov's children right now in the beginning of this week's Parsha, it specifies that the Yidden were only redeemed because they did not change their Jewish names. They did not change their names, they did not change their language, and they did not change the way they dressed. And therefore, since the Jews did not change their name, we mention them at the beginning of the slavery here to let us know that the only reason they are redeemed is because they didn't change their Jewish names and their Jewish identity. Asks the Rebbe, that all sounds nice, but in Torah there is a concept called Ein Mikra Yetz Midei Pshutai. You could learn out of a lot of things from Torah, but it cannot come out of its simple meaning. So how could it be that when talking about Yaakov's children coming into Mitzrayim, we are interpreting it with explanations that imply them already leaving? We have 210 years to wait before they leave. Why, when we're talking about them coming in, are we hinting things and learning things out of when they will leave 210 years later? That is not what the pasuk simply means. Explains the Rebbe, it's very simple. The whole purpose of Galus is to be a part of Geula. The whole purpose of our exile is for the eventual redemption. And therefore the exile itself, the Galus itself, is not actually there for itself. It's not actually real. It is real to us as an exile, that we're in a foreign place, we're not where we're meant to be. But it is not real as a challenge. And therefore, yes, while we're talking about them coming in, we are already learning out things for when they're going to go out. Because in essence, it's one idea. But with all this comes a question. So many times in Judaism we talk about Yetzias Mitzrayim. Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim, and Hashem was so kind. That was so long ago, thousands of years ago. Right now, we are in Galus. Clearly Mitzrayim didn't finish the job, because if Mitzrayim would have finished the job, we would have had Mashiach. Right now we're in Galus. What is the point of every day, so many times a day, so many mitzvahs that we do, we mention Zecher L'Tzias Mitzrayim, to remember that Hashem took us out? Why do we do that? What significance does it have to us? Explains the Rebbe that we have to look into the Haggadah. The Haggadah quotes a Mishnah that says that Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah says, I am like 70 years old. And he says, I did not know why we should keep mentioning Yetzias Mitzrayim at night, until a rabbi by the name of Ben Zoma comes and tells me that from the fact that the pasuk says you should mention the days of Mitzrayim, all the days of your life, instead of just the days of your life, the fact that it says all the days of your life, Kol Yemei Chayecha, teaches us that you should even say it at night. Explains the Rebbe that this question and answer is so much deeper. Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah's question was the same question we have now. Why should we be mentioning a previous redemption if that redemption wasn't final? If that redemption means that we're still in Galus right now? Why are we still mentioning Mitzrayim if that doesn't help us right now? Explains Ben Zoma. Ben Zoma responds to Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah, of course it does. Mitzrayim is the start of our Geula. When the Jews left Egypt, that is actually the start of us leaving this exile. The idea is that we keep mentioning Yetzias Mitzrayim not just when we're having a good time, not just when we're in peace, not just when we're happy, but when it's bad, when it's dark, when we're not having a good time. When we're tired and we're sick of this galus, that is where we mention. We're remembering that Hashem took them out of Mitzrayim. You know why? Because that is actually the pathway and the start to us leaving our exile. So the lesson is very clear. Why, when the pasuk talks about the Jews going in Mitzrayim, are we already explaining it to mean us going out? Because it's part of the Geula. Any challenge we have, any problem, any setback, anything that we think is not good, is actually part of the bigger picture, resulting in it ending in our Geula, in ending in our redemption. And it is our job not just to hope for it every day, but to actually do something about it, to get up and go elevate the world, to get up and fix what's wrong, because by doing that, we will be able to be zeicha to the actual arrival of Mashiach, when, as the Mishnah continues, the Chachamim tell us that even when Mashiach comes, we're going to talk about Yetzias Mitzrayim. Because even once we are finally redeemed for good, we're always going to remember where it started. And it starts with our hard work right now. Wishing you a wonderful Shabbos.